Dear delegates, it gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all to the third edition of world's largest fintech fest, Global Fintech Fest, organized by National Payments Corporation of India, Payments Council of India, and Fintech Converges Council. This edition of FEST is supported by the Department of Economic Affairs, RBI, and IFSCA. My name is Amna Agarwal. I'm your host for this session. The topic of the discussion in this session is pretty interesting and engaging. The topic is AI and ML, Future of Identities. So this is also a part of our masterclass. We are glad to have an esteemed speaker lined up for the same. And today with us, we have Professor Sandeep Kumar Shukla, Professor Computer Science and Engineering and Program Director, C3I Hub, Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, joining us in person. We would like to take few questions at the end of the session, so please keep it ready and post it in the chat box. So now, dear attendees, join me in welcoming Professor Sandeep Kumar Shukla, who will take over from here. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm sorry for being a little bit delayed due to some confusion about the timing. So, what I want to talk about is identity as such. And in particular, I want to talk about self-sovereign identity and how we have implemented a system of self-sovereign identity. This is very important for the fintech sector because identity is very important for authenticating users, and there are many different ways. In India, we have India Stack and other based identity proofs, and that's what is used mostly, but that's not a self-sovereign identity. So let's see what self-sovereign identity is all about. So I want to talk about what is self-sovereign identity, how we can do KYC using self-sovereign identity, and some use cases. And if time permits, I will talk about how this same idea is quite global. So what is self-sovereign identity? So self-sovereign identity, as opposed to identity like Aadhaar, where all the data, the biometry and personal data is actually at a third-party server, at the UIDAI server data centers, and therefore any kind of breach in that server would actually create problem for your personal information as well as your biometry, and that's a big problem with the identity. Second problem we face is that many places who ask us for our identity, we normally give a copy of our Aadhaar card or printout of our Aadhaar card. And what that means is that that can be misused by somebody who is actually going to receive it and not storing it according to the laws and according to the proper usage of personal information. The third problem that you might face is that people might actually do surgery using Photoshop and other kinds of techniques to actually fake somebody's photo, etc., into somebody else's other ID, etc. So there are several problems, and unless you do a real online eKYC or offline eKYC, it's very difficult to control what happens to your information. Whereas in a self-sovereign identity, the user has full sovereign control on that particular data, his identity data. So data being under full complete control of the user, it can be shared, or it can be actually not shared, but it can be proven to be his identity using techniques such as zero knowledge proof. But the same cannot be forwarded for misuse to another place. So this is based on the very standard idea called verifiable credentials. So verifiable credentials basically are based on cryptographic technique, public key cryptography, whereas every piece of data in the identity document is individually digitally signed by the issuer of the identity, And therefore, not only can you actually prove that your identity is what the issuer has given you, but also, and it has not been tampered with, but also you can selectively disclose your part of your identity. For example, if you only need to prove your age, that you are a senior citizen or you are above 18, etc., you can do that without having to reveal any other information on your identity. So that's what we call selective disclosure. And this identity data is stored in an encrypted form in a digital wallet. And therefore, you can actually get a number of different self-sovereign identity from different issuers. And I will show you example. And then you will see that how this digital wallet can enable proof of your identity without having to give up your data. So the idea is based on blockchain technology. So here is the more overall architecture. So normally an identity issuer such as UIDI, it could be a driving license, office. It could be your voter ID card office or your bank or any kind of issuer would actually first register their identity schemas. The identity has a special data format or what kind of fields are there in the identity. So all that stuff and its public key on our blockchain. It's a public permission blockchain. This blockchain is governed by a number of different organizations. Currently, IIT Kanpur, IIIT Allahabad, NIT Rourkela, and IDRBT, etc. But it will be actually extended. The governance model for this blockchain will be extended to large number of organizations so as to provide better security to this blockchain. Now, after it has registered its schema and identity schema and the public key, then it will actually issue the credential by signing every piece of data in the identity document using its private key, and the holder will receive that in their mobile wallet. Now, there will be a bootstrapping process that the holder has to first prove who he is before he is enabled to get an identity. For that, they can use online eKYC or offline eKYC of Aadhaar or any other method for doing the identity. And then after that, all other identities will be bootstrapped from there. Now, let's say this holder then goes to a verifier, an organization where he has to prove his identity. Then a verifier will request a proof of identity to this person. Its wallet will receive the message and request his consent. And then once he consents, then the identity will be, the signed identity will be revealed to the verifier. Verifier can then look up the public key and the schema of the organization that issued the identity and then use that to verify the identity and that it has not been tampered with or anything has happened. So verifiable credential, I will not go through the entire slide, but verifiable credential is an open standard developed by the Worldwide Web Consortium. So our wallet and our technology is interoperable with that. You can actually create verifiable credential out of Aadhaar. You can create verifiable credential out of PAN card authority, driving license authority, or voter ID card, or even COVID vaccination certificate. Banks can issue their passbooks as verifiable credential because we often need the passbook to prove our bank account information with our employer, etc. Colleges can give their ID card, and colleges can also give degrees. So in fact, we have actually issued degrees with for IIT Kanpur, IGNOU, and NIT Rourkela, IIT Indore, and very soon we'll be also giving degrees to 2 lakh students in AKTU. For IGNOU, it was about I think 65,000 students. So you can see that this is a very useful technology through which the verification of the degree, verification of your identity does not require the verifier to go back to the organization that issued the identity or issued the document and then ask them about the about the authenticity of the document, because the authenticity of the document is proven cryptographically by the wallet itself. So verifiable credentials can be, as the picture showed, can be used by governments, educational institutes, banking institutes, companies, etc. You can also have other as a verifiable credential. We have talked to the UIDI authority, and we know a way to actually do this using others offline, offline KYC technique, which I'll not talk about here, but you can actually bootstrap other identity, not exactly like a verifiable credential, but a whole credential through this technology. So we want to show you how you can do KYC using SSI, right? So currently our KYC methods are about 5. One is in-person verification, another is Aadhaar-based online KYC, another is Aadhaar-based offline KYC, video customer identification process, and then there is a centralized eKYC, which all of which are currently existing in India. But self-sovereign identity will be quite different, and we already explained this to you. So let's look at a journey, a sample journey. So Vidya is actually applying for Aadhaar as a verifiable credential, or she can get it through offline KYC portal of Aadhaar and get that in the digital wallet. So now she has an Aadhaar eKYC done and has a corresponding verifiable credential. Now, if he wants to do online eKYC and obtain the verifiable credential, then UIDI has to enable it. So right now UIDI does not have that facility. So offline eKYC is the way to do the verifiable credential in the form in the Aadhaar of Aadhaar. So it's now a credential in her digital wallet. Now let's say she wants to go for applying for her degree from IIT Kanpur, and currently IIT Kanpur provides degree in this form. So we are able to, she will be able to do that once she proves who she is, and for that she will use the Aadhaar eKYC that she got as a verifiable credential. So now she will use that to prove her identity to IIT Kanpur. IIT Kanpur will issue her degree as a verifiable credential, which becomes a second credential in her digital wallet. Now she goes and applies for a job. The job company will actually want to know what she is, what degree she has, so, and what identity she has. So she will use her other identity as well as her degree verifiable credential to prove those to the company. And let's say company gives her a job offer, and since she will need the job offer for loans and getting rental, etc., so she will be using this, she will be receiving this as a verifiable credential. Then she goes to the bank and apply for a credit card. The bank does not need to now go and ask IIT Kanpur whether her degree is genuine, or receive a paper copy of her other document, etc., or has to call the company to know whether she really has the job. She will be able to prove all that cryptographically to the bank and instantly get the credit card. And the credit card itself can also be given as a verifiable credential, provided the merchants can accept this form of credit card by their credit card verifier. So SSI ecosystem has multiple features. It has digital wallets. It has the selective disclosure that I may not want to disclose everything. Like in another document, I have father's name, I have multiple different other information which I may not need to give to somebody to prove my identity. I just want to prove that this is really who I am. In that case, I can do selective disclosure. I can only give those parts of, since every piece of information is individually signed, therefore I can actually do this. Non-transferable proofs, the proofs that the verifier gets from the wallet are non-transferable. It's designed to be non-transferable. So if it is replayed to another party, the another party will not be able to verify it. Zero knowledge proofs, sometimes you may need to prove something that you are above 18 or you're above 21 or you're above 65, etc. You don't need to really reveal your birthday. You can give a proof, a zero knowledge proof from the wallet to the verifier. You can do multi-credential proofs, like in case Vidya was actually using a multi-credential proof to prove her actual identity plus her degree. And in case of the bank, she was actually using a multi-credential proof, which basically had degree, her identity, her degree, and her job certificate. Secure private channels between the wallet and the verifier. There are other things that have derived benefits, like autofill of forms, passwordless login, etc. And then there is a reduced correlation, because since every time you verify your identity, it's not touching the server of Aadhaar or something. Nobody can correlate all your activities where every time you do a verification. Data minimization, there is very little data that is being transferred from the user to somebody else. So it will reduce the identity frauds, because nobody is getting a transferable identity. The identity cannot be then replayed to a third party. Fewer obligations for the verifier, and instant verification of the documents, and there is also data security. So these are the benefits. One last thing, I am running out of time, so one last thing I want to show is a video where we'll show how this can also enable other benefits such as passwordless login. So I just want to play a video here.
This is Jay. He has recently turned 18 and he wishes to apply for various services and documents that he can avail as an adult, such as driving license, voter card, and so on. He visits the portal for all of these services offered by different government institutions and quickly registers on all of these with different passwords. After going through all the rigorous time-taking processes, finally, he submits all his applications and goes to relax after a very long tiring session. Few days later, to get an update of all his applications, Jay decides to check back his applications. But unfortunately, he finds it hard to recall all of them. As a result, out of despair, he keeps on trying to reset his passwords. So, can self-sovereign identity help Jay? Yes, definitely. Jay only needs to scan the QR code on the portal using the SSI application, and now he can quickly log in using his credentials. Now, he no longer has to remember all his multiple passwords. He uses a different identifier for all of these. Hence, no one can correlate his identity across services and track his activity.
And this is what the experience is like on on the app. So the site you want to log in will generate a QR code. You scan it using our app, and then the app will be sending a proof of your identity to the server, and then you will be logged in. So I will stop here because I think I have run out of time. So if there is time, I'll like to take questions, and otherwise, I hope that I made some sense of what self-sovereign identity is all about and how we have implemented it. Is there any questions?
Thank you, sir, for such an enlightening session, for sharing your knowledge with us, which is going to be really helpful for all our attendees. And I think we have got a few questions. You can just check the chat box section.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to? Do you want me to read it for you?
Yeah, because I don't seem to have access to the chat box. Doesn't
Okay,
show
just
up.
type the chat. You just click on the chat icon. So I'll just read it for you. Not a
Yeah,
problem.
please. Yeah.
Okay. So who accesses the end-to-end encrypted data?
Well, there are many ways to do this. So the end-to-end encrypted data is currently, it goes from the wallet to the verifier, and the verifier has to check using the public key of the issuer, check the authenticity of the data. After that, this data is not very useful. Once authenticity has been proven, the data is no longer useful. But there are there are new ways of doing zero knowledge proof in which this data can also be made available under certain legal provisions to third law enforcement. There are DKP techniques for doing that, which currently we haven't implemented.
Okay, fair enough. So moving on to the next question, it is, what are the softwares of AI and ML used in fintech? Please briefly explain how do they work?
So I didn't talk about AI and ML in this talk because I wanted to talk about the identity part. But as you know that banks have been using AI, ML techniques, machine learning techniques for fraud detection for a long time, right? So I think that that is something that I have seen obviously is good, very good for fintech. The other place where I have seen is the risk assessment of customer loan applications, right? So you might collect data. I know of small fintech companies who are actually assessing the customer's profile, risk profile, from other data that they collect from various agencies regarding a particular neighborhood, regarding even a particular person based on surveys, and then they use AI techniques for knowing what is the risk of giving loans to them. There are also AI and machine learning techniques used, for example, in detecting whether a particular application, per particular transaction is fraudulent or not. Like we have done work on blockchain transactions, which are whether they are fraudulent, whether that's a scam, or that's a phishing, or that's some kind of a gambling transactions and so on. So as Web 3.0 gets integrated with fintech, there we will see a lot more applications of those.
So we're getting a lot many questions since your topic was like pretty engaging, and I of course witnessed by myself that whatever knowledge you're sharing, it is through your experience. And with this, we'll take one more, and that'll be the last question.
Okay.
And let me read that for you. How do AI and ML work together in a balanced way to support fintech?
So that's that balanced in AI and ML is a big research question as well as a policy question. Like for example, fairness of AI. When you are using AI algorithms to select people to give loans to, or people to actually onboard people, etc., AI ML might learn to discriminate, right? So there are many questions around this. This is something that researchers around the world are, and policymakers, they are all concerned about and worried about. We have seen AI learning abuses in case of one particular case that Facebook had to shut it down. We have seen AI ML learning to promote hate speeches and other things, since because the reward seems to be higher there by in case of Facebook, etc. So AI and ML balance is a big question, big concern, and I would say that this is something that everybody should keep in mind, that AI ML is not a solution to everything, and if AI ML has to be used, it has to be fair and it has to be unbiased. And this question should be asked for any vendor that is giving you AI ML tool, because eventually otherwise the regulatory compliance violations for discrimination, etc., might come onto you, even though the algorithm is responsible.
Fair enough. Thank you, Professor Shukla, for
Thank you.
enlightening us with all your knowledge and sharing, like topping it up with your experience. It was so relatable, it was so engaging for all of us. Once again, I would like to thank you.
Thank you.
And with
Thank you so
this-
much for inviting.
And with this, we would like to bring this session to an end. And once again, let's thank our esteemed speaker. And it was an honor to have you with us at Global FinTech Fest 2022. Coming to the end, we would also like to thank our partners, Team Partner WhatsApp, co-powered by Amazon Pay, Spend Management Partner Encash, in association with Perfios, Payments Partner Cash-Free Payments, CEO's Dinner Partner HSBC, Communications Partner Caldea, Banking Partner Standard Chartered Bank, Diamond Partner PayU, AWS, Kia.ai, Infrasoft, Paytm, Networking Partner Buddy Loans. So we'll resume in some time again for the next session. Once again, thank you, sir, and thank you all our attendees for being a part of this session.